Honestly, things started out pretty well for Washington in this game against the Charlotte Hornets. Disastrous, though, in the fourth quarter. Lack of adjustments, some questionable decisions regarding playing time. I'll get into that. Got a lot to break down today here. Post game on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you are locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Alongside the DC sports content creating savant Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, and I cover the Washington Wizards for Roundtable IO. 126-109. The Wizards drop this one in the Queen City. They fall to 5-23. AB, there's a lot to break down from this one. I'll just say that, and I'm actually not too happy about this one tonight, to be honest.
Yeah, that fourth quarter, that was terrible, man. Not playing Tre Johnson at all, only 1 minute, and he was playing good for the first three quarters. Being competitive with this team, it was nice to see. Adding insult to injury with Bub Carrington dealing with an injury. He's your Iron Man, and he could potentially miss some time. Corey Kispert, who just came back from injury and now is dealing with the hamstring issue. He was out for the game. The Kent Whitmore news, lots to break down, but this was disappointing, Ben. I don't get it. Jameer Watkins, a young guy, Will Riley. I understand the veterans and the idea of respecting them. Coach Brian Keefe, we know how loyal he is, but at some point, it just gets to a point. I don't get it. This kid, Tre Johnson, is your sixth overall pick. Why are you not playing him in the fourth quarter?
Just 1 minute. He didn't come into the game in the fourth quarter after honestly playing probably the best out of anybody on the Wizards tonight. In fact, the numbers would indicate it. He was a plus 10 in this game, and he did not check into the fourth quarter until there was about 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go in that game, and the Wizards had already gone down by double digits at that point. Really poor shooting nights for Keyshawn George, CJ McCollum as well, who shot 6 for 26 combined from those two players. Sarr ended up having 4 blocks in this game, but he wasn't very aggressive offensively. He only ended up finishing with 7 points, which might be the lowest output of the season for him. I'd have to double check on that, but a lot of things about this game that stood out to me. Like early on, the Wizards were very competitive. They led by 7 after the first quarter. They had a small lead at halftime as well, but things kind of fell underwater for them in that second half. Outscored by 5 in the third, and then they're outscored by 15 in that fourth quarter. It got a little bit embarrassing how little adjustments there were, especially defensively. Charlotte shot the cover off the basketball in that fourth quarter especially. They ended up finishing with 20 made three-pointers in this game. And once Con Knipple got hot from the outside, he finished with 19 in this game. On 5 of 9 from behind the arc, you knew it was over. There was no answer for Washington in terms of rotation. And a big reason why that you're losing a lot of this production on the defensive side of the basketball is Jameer Watkins does fall out of the rotation tonight. He was one of 2 players who did not play in this game. And you knew when you got Corey Kispert back, who had missed a month with the thumb fracture, then you get Bilal back as well, that those guys were going to play significant minutes. I didn't think Will Riley and Jameer Watkins would fall definitively out of the rotation the way they did. Will Riley only played 2 garbage time minutes tonight. So to me, it's bothersome because, AB, you and I talked about it a lot over the last week or so, saying, like, we got to acknowledge that these guys are playing well. They've stepped up, and this kind of seems like meritocracy now, that they have earned these minutes that they're playing, and they're producing for you right now. But then Corey Kispert comes back, who's played really good this year, to his credit. Bilal comes back, who hasn't played very well, and he's missed 14 games. And then those guys just completely are out of the rotation. It's just tough to see because they went 11 deep early in this game, and once those 2 weren't included in the rotation, you're just like, damn, it's really going to be like that, isn't it? It's tough to see, AB, and I have a little bit more on Bilal I want to get into, but I want to get your thoughts on that first.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better, Ben. It contradicts Will Dawkins' statement going into the season. Minutes will be given, not earned. Will Riley and Jameer Watkins were producing out there, and the fact that they play in garbage time where Will Riley plays 2 minutes and Jameer doesn't play at all, that's frustrating. And it just goes back to the fact that I can't wait longer enough for the second half of the season, Ben, where some of these guys will be dealt. And don't get me wrong, I love Corey Kispert. I love what he brings, but the overall versatility is just not there when it comes to if you compare him to the other young guys on this roster. And Bilal Coulibaly tonight, Ben, we always talk about this the 6 shots. That's his threshold. He surpassed it tonight, and he surpassed it in 3-point shots. 9 3-point shots for Bilal. I mean, the Hornets were going under screens, begging him to shoot, giving him the Ben Simmons treatment. I get. I mean, 14 points. You like the aggression, but it was bad. You know what's crazy? That wasn't even the worst shooting performance. Keyshawn George tonight. Love the kid. Year 2 kid out of Miami. I think he's going to be a stud. 31 minutes, scored 2 points and 2 rebounds, 6 assists. Even the Hornets announcer Eric Collins, who, don't get me wrong, I think he's the most iconic announcer in the NBA. And this is a side thing, but the dude, like in the middle of the third quarter, Ben, he was talking about the camera was pointing at Anthony Gill. He gave like a whole him and his guy that he was doing the broadcast was talking about Anthony Gill, and he said Anthony Gill is such a handsome dude, and it was just so funny because I'm just like, I'm trying to watch the game. It's a close game. I get it if it was a blowout, but going back to Bilal and Keyshawn, yeah, it was just a poor shooting performance tonight. And it's hard to win games, Ben, when Chris Middleton is your leading scorer in 2025.
Yeah, it's never really going to end up being the recipe for success. You got that right. I'm still just kind of perplexed with this whole Tre Johnson thing and the fact that he only played 21 minutes in this game. It's not like he's on a minutes restriction anymore. I know they had him on one for the first 2 or so games that he came back from the hip flexor strain. But he played 25 minutes in the game against the Spurs. Tonight he plays 21, but he really only played 19 because he basically got 2 garbage time minutes there in the fourth quarter when he was arguably your best player on the floor tonight. CJ McCollum did not have his best whatsoever. And, you know, he's had his moments this year, but a really poor shooting night for McCollum. 5 of 17 from the field, 1 of 5 from behind the arc. He was a minus 17 in the game. Tre Johnson was a plus 10. They were that much better with him on the floor. And I was like, this is chef's kiss in the first half. They're finally facilitating the offense around him in a way that makes him impactful when he's on the floor. When they set a pin down screen for him in the right corner and he curled around to the mid-range, catch and shoot, he drilled it. That's all day. That's all day for Tre Johnson. He needs to do that for 30 minutes a night. And the fact that like we just get away from it late in the game like that and let things get away without any adjustment despite multiple timeouts, it made it frustrating. And it's not like I'm even frustrated that they lost the game. I don't ever go into the game expecting this team to win. You can't expect this team to win. They're not even really, they're not really necessarily trying to win most of the time. You'd like to see them develop, and I was glad they were competitive at least the first half. But at times they sacked themselves out of competitiveness by some of these rotational decisions they've made. And I just want to see these young guys develop night in, night out. I don't need to see CJ McCollum trying to put up a show in the fourth quarter. Let's see our number 6 overall pick, who's having the best game on the floor, go out there and try to compete with the best of them. Con Knipple on the other side is going to be a favorite for Rookie of the Year because he plays significant minutes and they let him go out there and cook with that offense that has a ton of talent out there. That's why he is looked at as one of the best rookies in the league right now. Tre Johnson isn't going to get that type of recognition because he's not playing enough minutes to do so. He's not getting enough opportunities to do so. So as a Wizards fan, I feel like you can be a little bit frustrated about that they're taking this development a little bit slower with a guy like Johnson and being deferral to CJ McCollum at 34 years old.
Con Knipple, he is very special. And like you mentioned, the Hornets give him opportunities. It's not like they have a CJ McCollum on their team or a vet that's taking 10 to 15 shots a game and taking away shots from your young guys. I think also tonight, Ben, just the competitiveness, I loved it. But that fourth quarter, the Hornets started off on an 8-0 run. You get outscored by 15. It's tough. And this is a Hornets team that's young. They're not like elite team in the Eastern Conference. I would say they are a fun team because of the amount of youth that they have. But
I don't get how they're this bad.
Yeah, I don't understand either, to be honest. It was kind of
I really don't.
Yeah, because you look at him, it's like LaMelo, he's a walking triple-double. Miles Bridges, very athletic. Khan, Rookie of the Year.
Moussa Diabate is a monster.
Yeah, and
he had 18 rebounds in this game. Sarr had 10 in the first half. He only finished with 11, so didn't love seeing that. I was glad he got to 10 in the first half. I thought that was great. But 18 for Moussa Diabate. How many of those were offensive? Give me 1 second to pull that stat. Let's see here. Moussa Diabate. He was also 6 of 6 he was a plus 38 He was a plus 38
God, is that even
in this
possible?
game. The amount of offensive rebounds, he had 8 offensive rebounds in this game. That is actually insane. That is remarkable. The team had 14 offensive rebounds for Charlotte, so way too many second chance opportunities for the Hornets as well. But my God, that is a dominant performance on the glass by Diabate, and you could see it in real time with the eye test. But just looking at the numbers, I didn't realize he had 18 of those things. That is crazy.
I can also say one thing. I love Bilal's defensive effort, but Ben, I'm at the point right now where unless the guy that he's guarding does not score a basket at all during a game, throw the defense out the window. I'm sorry. Respectfully, offensively, I need to see something. Tonight, okay, the aggression was there, but I want to see this on a consistent basis because I'm going back to the fact that you are supposed to be a key cornerstone piece of this franchise. And with guys going out like Corey Kispert, Cam Whitmore indefinitely just announced today, who's going to step up? Offensively, we need you to be that guy. Defensively, we understand this team as a whole, team overall, we are not good defensively. Probably the worst team in NBA history when it comes to defense. But offensively, if you're an NBA player and it's year 3 going into year 4 and you can't give me 10 to 15 points on average a night, there is some cause for concern.
Yeah, it was problematic to me because you could see the way the scouting report feels about Bilal Coulibaly right now. They were sagging off him early on in the game. The first 2 possessions, they sagged off right away, and he shot 2 threes. He knocked one of them down, which is good to see. It was good to see him knock down multiple in the first half, but second half was very cold from behind the arc, and he obviously finishes 3 for 9, so couldn't really get it going throughout the remainder of the way in this game. And it's also weird that a game where you only turn the ball over 6 times, which is around 10 under the average that you do per game, which has been a real problem for Washington this year. That wasn't a problem for them tonight, and they still looked pretty lackluster at times, not aggressive enough, not facilitating offensively the way I thought they could have for a lot of this game. And, you know, for a time where you don't turn the ball over that much and you still lose by 17, it says a lot about how poor you were defensively and how poor you were in the fourth quarter of this game.
And you only had 5 turnovers against San Antonio, so I love how disciplined they are with the ball. We'll just have to see if they can keep it up moving forward.
Yeah, all right. Let's take our first break. We got some really unfortunate injury news today regarding Cam Whitmore. Some more injuries occurred during the game. Let's talk about those when we come back here in just a second on the Locked On Wizards podcast. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports. Bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once, and while we are making choices every day, one of the most fun places to make the right call is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the easiest way to get in on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, fast, and available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. PrizePicks has added an extra layer of excitement to the holiday sports schedule. You can create a lineup in less than a minute, and the app makes the whole process smooth and intuitive. You can choose from a huge range of unique stats, fantasy scores, field goals attempted, free throws made, turnovers. Whatever fits your strategy is best for you. The early payout feature is a great bonus when your lineup starts strong. You may get the option to cash out early. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Had a couple key injuries in this game for the Washington Wizards today. Bub Carrington and Corey Kispert left the game with injuries. But the more unfortunate news that we got earlier today, Cam Whitmore will be out indefinitely with the upper extremity deep vein thrombosis. If you're unfamiliar, it's the same injury that Wemby dealt with last year. It's the injury that ended Chris Bosh's career. It's blood clots, which is a very, not just a serious injury in terms of a basketball career, but that is a serious health injury for Cam Whitmore. So we're absolutely wishing him the best with his recovery because that's a super tough thing to see for a 21-year-old kid to deal with something like this, a health scare like this at this point in his life. And we know when he popped up on the injury report a couple days ago with shoulder soreness, we didn't get any information about it. Brian Keefe just said he had some soreness in his shoulder, but this turns out to be something that's extremely serious. The quote that we got from the team today is saying that they hope he can rejoin the team at some point down the line after he gets through his recovery process. This is tough because he's going to be out for quite some time. And the way they said later, it's going to be at least months before you potentially see Cam Whitmore back on the floor. And this is an injury that is deeper than basketball.
I think Damian Lillard had the same injury as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's scary. Like you mentioned, it ended Chris Bosh's career, and Chris Bosh was a very good basketball player. And with Cam Whitmore, he's a guy who's trying to figure out a role here in DC. And the last couple of games, we were questioning why he was getting DMPs, and we heard things about health, but we also heard Coach Keefe talk about he wants to give looks to the younger guys and Jameer Watkins and Will Riley. But you pray for a speedy recovery because you see the talent with Cam Whitmore. The kid can give you 10 to 15 points a night and is very athletic. We saw the explosive dunk he had on Jalen Duren early on in this season. And the fact that some people out there are thinking that this isn't true, that they're just holding him back, it's crazy. Why the heck would the team make this up? The kid is going through something, and you just got to give him time out indefinitely. And maybe we'll see him hopefully post All-Star break, because again, I think this is a guy who can be a really good piece for this franchise. And the news that came out not too long ago about him being a distraction, only caring about himself, and then Coach Brian Keefe, like it was just like this organization right now, they keep everything under the table, Ben. Like we don't know anything. Even at post-game conferences, whether it's Varun Shankar, Chase Hughes, Bijan Todd, they ask him a question and he just doesn't answer at all. So we have to figure it out days after when the official news comes out from Sham Sharani or any source out there. And with Cam Whitmore being out, Ben, not only that, Corey Kispert dealing with an injury. When he just came back from an injury, this wing position, I understand there's depth there, but some guys need to step up.
And I guess, like, if you look at it this way, Corey Kispert left this game with hamstring tightness. So you get a couple days off here before the Wizards are back in action the day after Christmas. They play at home that day on that Friday, the 26th. We don't know about the status of Corey Kispert, whether or not he'll be back in that game. If he's not back in the lineup for that night, then you'd expect, I guess, Will Riley to slot back in the rotation right there. I think he still should have been in the rotation anyway. Maybe see Jameer Watkins get some looks as well. I'm interested to see Bub Carrington and what happens with him, because injury, he kind of rolled up on himself, crossing his legs over when he was getting back on defense. And he definitely looked like he sprained something. And I don't want to speculate because I don't know anything. We don't have any information about it. But he hobbled his way back to the scorer's table before he eventually just got down so they could stop play. Sharif Cooper helped him walk back to the locker room. That'd be tough to see because Bub is a guy that hasn't missed a game in his career. The number one trait to him so far in his career outside of his shooting is availability. He's been a guy that's been available consistently, even when he's had some little minor injuries that have occurred during games. I think last year he had that scary moment where he went to the locker room, was seen like in a wheelchair momentarily, but then he was back out there playing once again. This looked like it had the potential to be something a little bit more serious, and I'm really hoping that's not the case because tonight was frustrating for me, especially for Bub Carrington, because he came into the game after coming off the bench for Bilal, which I don't know if I was a fan of that decision either, the way Bub had been playing since he had been back in the starting lineup the last 7 games. He had played really, really well. And then Bilal comes back and he's just instantly inserted back into the starting lineup. So Bub comes off the bench. First 2 times he touches the ball, he heat checks the 3. Or the first possession wasn't really a heat check, but second one comes right down the floor, gets in rhythm, a catch and shoot 3, basically a heat check. And then just like that, in 4 minutes, he picks up 3 fouls. I thought the third foul was complete bogus as well. He was trying to hand the ball off to Corey Kispert, and he kind of bumped into the defender on the way over after he gave him the exchange, and they called him for an illegal screen. I hated that call. I thought Keefe could have challenged that, honestly. I don't know if it's like the Wizards don't get respect from these type of calls or what it is, but Bub really didn't get to play much in this game because of that. So I'm wishing the best for Bub Carrington as well. And Corey Kispert, it's tough to see a guy miss a whole month, come back, and then have another kind of like soft tissue, fluky kind of injury right there.
Yeah, and this is a kid who didn't miss any games last year, like you mentioned, and has been playing all games this year. And you have your next game Friday. Shocker, we're not playing on Christmas, right, Ben? Shout out to the John Wall days and the playing the next Celtics.
It's been a long time. We already have the Commanders that are going to lose.
Oh, yeah. We're going to see Jeff Driscoll play, so we're good.
No, I don't even think he's going to play. We're going to see Josh
Johnson
play.
Sorry, Josh Johnson, my bad.
Jeez,
that's
man.
Even an upgrade. I think right now with these injuries, the rotations are going to be interesting. Bags tonight, I liked what I saw from him. He's been looking good, Ben. I genuinely wonder if there's a possibility that he gets traded. If the offer's there, I don't see why not. I understand Tristan Vucevic is the guy who is going to be pushed back from this rotation now that Bags is back. But if you can get a first from a contender, maybe 2 seconds or 3 seconds, and Will Dawkins loves that deal, maybe that's a potential thing that you look at down the line during the trade deadline. But, man, tonight, Ben, Keyshawn George, I know it was a flagrant one foul that he had on LaMelo, but he just did not look like the Keyshawn that we expect him to play like every night. And that happens. He's a young kid. He's going to bounce back from this 100%.
He's had up and downs already this year. He had 28 points just a couple of nights ago and led the Wizards to a massive comeback. It's going to happen. It's going to be nights like that in year number 2. And really, I'd almost consider this feels more like a rookie season for Keyshawn George, because I just feel like we didn't see enough of the guy in his rookie year. He had some really great flashes, but didn't get to see the full potential. Like, this is the first year where he is the guy that's getting a ton of action with the basketball in his hands. So it's almost like a fresh start in a way for Keyshawn George. Not necessarily, obviously, because it is his second year by definition. But, yeah, there's going to be those growing pains, and he'll bounce back. He'll learn. I expect him to come out and bounce back from that on Friday.
Shout out to Justin Champagne, 10 points and 9 rebounds. That's one guy that will always impress me when I look at the stat sheet. But, yeah, you move on. You play Cleveland, right, Ben, on Friday?
I think so, yeah.
So that's going to be a tough one. You were close with them last time. Oh, sorry, Toronto, not Cleveland.
Toronto, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. Scotty Barnes and that squad, Brandon Ingram. And, yeah, nothing else that pops out of the stat sheet. Again, but I'm just disappointed that Jameer Watkins and Will Riley didn't play that much. I understand they're going to be bumped out of the rotation, but only 2 minutes for Will and 0 for Jameer. When this Hornet squad has guys that could score like LaMelo Ball, Nipple, Miles Bridges. I'm scratching my head here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I thought the rotations were a bit questionable tonight, to say the least. What are your guys' thoughts? Well, that's why you guys love the segment that comes up next here on the Locked On Wizards postgame podcast. Time to let it all out. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, that first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app comes in and gives fans the advantage, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Features like zone deals help unlock great seats at even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. You guys know what time it is. We're back to the losing edition of this segment here on the Locked On Wizards podcast, but it is your favorite segment on the post-game show on the Locked On Wizards podcast, because it is time to let it all out. AB, get it going.
Mako Tosa, hopefully I pronounced that right, too. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the Locked On Wizards channel. Says, Keith is an idiot. Barely called any plays for Sar. Tonight, it wasn't Sar's night when scoring-wise. Defensively, 4 blocks. I love that. 11 rebounds as well. I think, again, he's coming back from an injury, so let him get back, get his feet wet. The idea of also him playing alongside a point guard would be also ideal for his scoring ability. But, yeah, tonight just wasn't his night. It wasn't anyone's night. I'll go back to what I said. Chris Middleton being your leading scorer tells a lot, says a lot. Mr. Bomb V2 says, if Middleton is your highest scorer, you're not doing it. Okay, yeah, basically what I just said. Locked On Law. Keyshawn 1 for 9, CJ 5 of 17. That's 6 of 26. You're not winning a lot of games shooting that poorly. Yep, Law. You're right about that. Mr. Bomb V2 also says bad matchup in the fourth. Should have played Sar more. Yeah, I mean, there's no minute restriction on him or Tre Johnson, right, Ben?
Not to our knowledge.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe there's something else that they're hiding on the table.
They don't tell us a lot. So.
They don't tell us anything. Yep, especially with CJ wasting possessions like he was. CJ McCollum, the heat checks, you hate to see it. Locked On Law says you can't let someone be ass just because he's a veteran. It's a good point, but loyalty when it comes to the veterans on this team is very apparent. Baltimore Get Up 9537 says, okay, here's my grips. 1, why is Sar getting so few shots? Next, why is Trey getting limited minutes? Con shows you need to play to get better. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Colin Knippel, who is just so freaking
Did
good.
you hear that stat about Colin Knippel, who became the fastest player to reach 100 threes in NBA history? And he outdid Curry by, I can't remember the amount of games, but an insane amount of games.
That's
He got
insane.
he got to 100 much, much faster than Curry.
But hey, remember, out of the draft, he's just another version of Corey Kispert, right, Ben? I hate people that think they're like draft experts. Mr. Bonvi too also says coach did not match up well in the fourth quarter. Poor coaching. It's been the theme of the season. Just can't close out games and fight in the fourth. Baltimore also says why if you're not gonna close the game out, have Middleton and McCollum in. Yeah, I don't think I read that right. Mr. Bonvi too says 3-point defense horrendous. Yeah, couldn't close out. 3-point shooters with Charlotte. They can shoot it, man. And I think the Queen City, right, Ben? Not the Charm City. Yeah, I know someone commented on the previous podcast. That was funny. Colin gets to play Queen, gets to play, but our guy has to do baby steps. It's annoying. Completely agree. I'm hoping when it comes to silver lining of Tre Johnson that he's going to be unleashed in the second half of the season. It should have been game one, but hey, who am I? I'm just a dummy. Noah Mustard, 5432. What's up, Noah? Any update on Bub? We do not know. Hope he's okay 100%. I think it looked like he rolled his ankle. We're hoping it's not anything knee related.
I'll look for updates as you're going through some of the comments here, AB. See if Keith has spoken yet or not.
Baltimore says, I'm glad it wasn't a non-contact injury. Yeah, I'm hoping that Bub Carrington will be all right. We all are. OG Newman 1 says, for him to stay, not have the freaking rotation figured out, says a lot. I think we need to end this Keith project. Yeah, I still think he's not going to get fired mid-season. I think we're going to have to wait till the end of the season. Mr. Bonvi, too, also said it doesn't look like a bad sprain if it's indeed a sprain. Hoping so. Locked on Law says, Bilal shooting still blows. Yeah, 9 3-pointers tonight. Insane. Wasn't on contact injury. He had like 6 open threes. Noah says every defender is going under on the screens. Rightfully so. If you know the kid can't shoot, leave him open because homie just can't shoot. Yeah. Fire Keith. It feels like every team with top picks besides Bailey is being given opportunities. It's a very good point. That's one thing that I was concerned about going into the season. The only thing that's holding back Tre Johnson is the staff and his coaching. The opportunity that he's going to get on the court, it just depends on Coach Brian Keefe. WizKid Forever says Wizards are afraid if they play the players who are really contributing will cause them to lose that top 3 pick. What else could it be? But the thing is with me, I just don't think if you play all these young guys, we're going to win a lot of games. I still think we'll win 15 to 18 or maybe potentially 20 the max. It just doesn't make any sense. I always go back to the fact the moral victories is you're competitive. We saw that today. In the fourth quarter, the collapse and not seeing the young guys out there, that's what triggers me. Goldo Beard says, Wizards need more players who don't need development, time and veterans who are older and don't need to start. Ooh, let's see. A lot of comments tonight. 41 people in here. Shout out to you guys. Tired, young M1 says, tired of seeing these old, I don't know if that's an insult word, Ben, if I can say that, but as if, I don't know. My vocabulary is so bad. Tired of seeing these old geezers play. Hopefully that's not an offensive word. Don't want to get canceled in the great state of 2025. XX No Trace XX says Keith is somewhat of the scapegoat, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying Brian Keefe is the reason why we're not winning or why our record is our record. Let's be real. The talent on this team, there's a big gap between every other NBA team night in and night out. But it's the opportunities given to the young guys on this team. Why do you prioritize giving the shots and the opportunities to guys like CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton? I understand they're vets. I get that. But I'm tired of playing that card. A lot of Wizards fans just want to see the young kids play. They're called Wiz Kids for a reason. Locked on Losses, as an old geezer, I would not want to see me play.
We better not see Law out there.
Mental Edge 2398 says, seems everyone came back tonight and the rotation was terrible. That was one of the things that we were talking about now that everyone's back healthy. But now with this Corey Kispert injury and Bub Carrington injury, maybe we'll go back to what it was looking like before everyone came back. Washington won more games in the 1970s than any other franchise. I mean, I wish they had locked on Wizards back then, Ben. It would have been a much fun job compared to now.
We would have been swimming in money.
Joshua Jenkins 188 says, I expect a lot of improvement next season. Got to get this top 8 protected pick behind us. There is now a sense of urgency. You can see body language in Coach Keefe with his timeouts and rotations. Yeah, next year, and I don't know if you guys saw the news with Adam Silver. I mean, Ben, can you explain this tanking thing? Like, there's no way we're going to get penalized, at least not this year. 2027, different story.
I mean, they haven't said anything definitively. I think they just proposed some ideas, including potentially teams being unable to pick in the top 4 back-to-back years. Some different limitations on protections you can put on certain. I don't know. It's stupid. They're gonna do the wrong thing, is what I think the NBA will do. I think they'll make the wrong decision, whatever it is. They don't know how to handle the lottery. They clearly don't.
Yeah. You just see like the top. I mean, look at the Spurs, like the Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Wembanyama. There's guys like
3 straight years of top 4 picks.
But then there's franchises like us that are desperately trying to find a superstar, but we're always left with scraps. You just hate to see it. Young M1 says Bilal is super mid. We need to get him. We need him to be a defensive lockdown player, and he ain't that either. I think defensively, Bilal, we all know he's really good, but I'm tired. I need to see some offense. In today's NBA, as much as people rave about how no one plays defense, offense is, and you need to be scoring 10 to 15 points a game. Or if you're given 2 wide open shots in a row and you can't hit one and you go 0 for 2, that's cause for concern, guys. I really can't say it any simpler way. Uptown Dre says, UPT Dre, sorry. Tre Johnson off the bench was a plus. What's up with the starter? Bojangling. Yeah, I don't know, guys. We're here. We're giving you what we're seeing. We're just 2 dummies talking about what we think should happen with this team and rotations. If it was me, any guy that's under 24, you're playing 24 minutes at least. That's my motto, Ben.
24.
I just can't. The post game, not the post game, but the trade reaction when McCollum or Middleton or any of these vets are leaving. It's more about seeing the young guys and the opportunities that they get rather than what you get in return. I think that's the bigger plus. And you just have to keep fighting. Again, the deadline is February, right? No.
Like first week of February.
First week of February, so we still have some time to go. But, man, this was a game that I think the Wizards could pull off on a night where Keyshawn George, one of your best young players, is struggling to score the basketball. You were competitive up in that fourth quarter, but then the Lob City, the LaMelo and Miles Bridges, the connection they have. Conklin was firing from three-point land. Their big man is really nice. The Hornets, they have a good nice squad. They just have to mesh it out. And the whole beef, the irrelevant beef that Wizards and Hornets fans have, it's always going to be funny.
They've kicked our ass twice, so we'll leave it at that. Wizards dropped this one tonight, really poor in the second half. They're outscored big time in the fourth quarter. Maybe some questionable rotational decisions, but a lot to break down, including the injuries that we saw today. Cam Whitmore out indefinitely with the blood clots. Corey Kispert leaves this game injured. Bub Carrington leaves the game injured. A lot to break down. We want to hear from you guys, though, in the comments. If you weren't already in the live stream, if you are, continue to comment down below. Let us know if you're an everydayer of the channel as well. Let us know what you want to see from this Wizards team going forward. With that, that'll do it for us today on the Locked On Wizards podcast. We'll have an episode for you out tomorrow as well on Christmas Eve. We won't have one, though, on Christmas Day. We'll be back on Friday with the coverage of Wizards and Raptors, the post-game coverage for you. If you don't tune in the channel tomorrow because you are busy for the holidays, we just want to wish everybody a happy holidays. Hope everyone has a safe one, enjoys it with their families, whether you're celebrating or not. Hope you enjoy it. Anything else, maybe?
Don't drink and drive. Stay safe, guys.
Don't make any bad decisions.
No bad decisions.
There's a lot of Wizards basketball future that we got to get to here. So don't make any bad decisions, right?
A lot.
We got to see how this rebuild pans out. That's the motive. That should be the motivation right there. But in all seriousness, everybody have a safe holidays. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. For your second, check out the Locked On NBA Fantasy Basketball podcast. Josh Lloyd will get your lineup right. For my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, DC Family. Talk to you later.